Christine Sinclair is the top international goal scorer of all time, Just let that sentence sink in for a minute. The Olympic gold medalist and legendary Canadian soccer player is the longtime captain, of course, of our country's national team, as well as Portland Thorns FC. Her performance on the pitch, I mean, is just incredible. It is what garners the most attention. But now, Christine Sinclair is sharing a bit more of her story in the form of a new memoir. Christine Sinclair is joining us in studio on the couch. Here she is. I'm totally fangirling right now.
Stop.
Congratulations on the new book.
Thank you.
This is really exciting. So here's the book. It is called Playing the Long Game. And you say talking about yourself is not the most comfortable experience for you?
Yeah, it's like the worst.
Is it the worst?
Yes.
What about writing about yourself? How was that?
Even worse.
Oh, really?
No, but it just doesn't seem real that that book is about me and that I wrote it. It's kind of crazy.
It's a little out of body. What was that process like for you, the writing?
Obviously, with Stephen's help, it was fairly painless. He knew what questions to ask. He'd followed my career since day one, so he knew a lot about me. But honestly, it felt like therapy.
Did it?
Yeah, just reliving memories, reliving stories, the good, the bad.
Yeah. Was it hard to go to some places?
Yes, definitely. There were some days where he was like, let's talk about this today. And I'm like, absolutely not.
Did you find yourself going there eventually, or you just were like, that's out of reach?
The hardest part was talking about my family, my mom, my dad. Though that was, I'm like, I'm not ready to talk about that yet. Yeah. And I mean, we got there eventually.
Yeah. Well, the book is incredible. The book starts with the lockdown.
Yes.
That's where the book begins. As a professional athlete, I mean, you're always on a schedule. You know what's happening. You know what you're going to eat. You know what's happening the next hour, the next minute of your day. So to have that all sort of ripped from you, as we all know, with the start of the pandemic, what was that like? How did you adapt to the lack of schedule?
It was very difficult because, like you said, we're used to you doing this at this time and day after day, and to all of a sudden just have nothing. Was very difficult. Then the Olympics got postponed, and you're going, are we ever going to play again? I spent the first part of lockdown in Florida, where, to be fair, if you're going to spend part of a pandemic, Florida was the place, because I think the pandemic lasted for about a week there.
Right. That's right. No.
And I was able to work on my golf game.
Yeah, fair enough. I want to show you something that I found recently when I was going through some boxes.
No. Oh, God, it's hidden.
Can you look at that for a second? Do you know what that is? Yeah.
I have that.
You do too?
I have.
So this is a ball that I was given. I was obsessed with Roberto Alomar.
Me too.
As a kid. And I got this for Christmas one year. My parents, when I was 12, actually. Number 12. And he was your hero too.
Yes.
And I just remember the feeling of watching him play. That is something that stayed with you, obviously. You took on number 12.
I did.
Tell me about the fact that you're now in that position where people are looking up to you in that way.
Yeah, it's a role I take very seriously. It's nice to see that times have changed, that young girls now don't have to look up to male role models and male athletes to think anything's possible. I mean, I was convinced I was going to be the first female in the Jays. But yeah, now to see young girls wearing Sinclair jerseys or Lawrence jerseys, it's really nice to see that these young girls can aspire to represent Canada, play professionally, and not be thought of as weird.
Yeah, exactly. And you're that person, you're that marker for people. I was holding your book yesterday. I was saying a little earlier on in the show to the girls that there was a woman I'd never met before. Her name was Nicole. Her name is Nicole. Hopefully she's watching this morning. She saw that I was holding this and she asked me if I was reading it, and I said yes. And she said, I just finished the book. And I went, oh, okay. So and I asked her, I was like, if you were to meet Christine Sinclair, what would you ask her? And she took an exhale because, you're her hero.
Oh, God.
And she just said, one of the things that I love that she focuses on so much is about growing youth and girls and women in sport. And she said that she would want to know, as I do as well, what do we need to do in this country to help out our young people and to make sure they have an environment where they can thrive? Yeah,
I wish I had the answer to that. But I'm a firm believer that every opportunity that a young boy gets, a young girl should be able to have. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be in sports, it's in life. Obviously, I know the sports world, and I know the lack of exposure and the lack of opportunities there are for women. And Diana Matheson, a former teammate of mine, is spearheading a charge to bring professional soccer here to Canada. And when I'm done playing, that's going to be my next goal as well. That young girls right now in Canada, there's nowhere to play. I mean,
Right.
very few people make it professionally anyway, but there are no options here in Canada, which is sad. And
We need to create that.
we need to create it.
So a young girl watching right now,
Yeah.
what would you say to her?
I'd say to find something that you're passionate about. For me, it happened to be sports. It happened to be soccer. But yeah, to find something you're passionate about, give it all you've got. And sometimes those crazy dreams you have as a kid come true.
I love that, and you are truth to that. Christine, so great to have you here today. Thank you.
Thanks for having
And you can read more about Christine's story in her new memoir. It is called Playing the Long Game.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.